whoops. What's going on there? I think we need to see the stats. I wonder how that got turned on. Hold on a minute. Okay, that's fucked up. I don't even know why it's showing that. I swear, fucking system sometimes. It's like I don't need to see that information. Why am I seeing that? Sometimes. Steam Deck just does some weird shit. Yeah, why am I getting the performance overlay? I've never turned this thing on, ever. Let's try restarting the system. Like I said, I've never turned this on. It's amazing that it just turns on specifically for games and not for just the regular gameplay. It's just like having a regular PC. Random shit happening. Just for reasons. Alright, see if it does the thing. I don't even have a shortcut for that overlay. Yeah. Random reboot. I personally don't see a need for that overlay. But whatever. Hi everyone, this is audap. Random Steam Deck bullshittery. Let's continue our game of Her World running on the Steam Deck when it wants to behave. Okay, I think we asked all the questions. There, we'll do it just in case.
응? 도와준 건데 말투가 왜 그래? 빨간옷? 교복이 아니라? 아, 미안.
I washed my hands in a half-destroyed sink and tried to organize my thoughts the best I could. Still, I wasn't able to get a good read on this world yet. Just being able to recognize this place as this world felt like a great development for me. But also, this place is a wreck, so how is there running water? Seems like there's power being supplied from somewhere too.
신기하지? 안 그래? 발전소도 상수도 시설도 없을 텐데.
It's as if the place was designed to imitate the outside world. Fiona added, as if that had some significance.
하지만 덕분에 살기 좋아. 밤에는 불도 켤 수 있고 샤워도 할 수 있고. 병원 매장 가봤어? 음식 같은 게 안 썩고 있다? 애들이나 좋아할 과자나 통조림밖에 없지만.
I'm not sure eating the food here is a good idea, as far as your well-being is concerned. As I stepped into the hallway, Hyuna grabbed me by the wrist again, with a sneaky look on her face and that suspicious smile.
저기, 나가지 말고 여기서 살래?
A questionable offer. I would not.
여기 조용해서 좋아. 집세도 공짜고.
I haven't been back here for very long, but I already hate it.
내가 있는데도 싫어?
But that's the question, Hyuna. What are you even doing here? You're so relaxed, but isn't this a dangerous way to be spending your free time? Are you squatting here? I can't even imagine.
나?
Hyona's eyes went wide. For a time, she didn't even blink.
아, 여태 그렇게 생각했구나.
What do you mean?
묘하게 말이 안 맞다 했지.
Hyuna stopped for a second, like she was about to say something that made her uncomfortable. Then she looked me in the eye and...
나 여기 갇혀 있는 거야.
She laid it out straight. Proceed. Oh, is this a action segment? Quest. A woman trapped. Collect 3 memory shards. This? The strongest creatures can kill you with a single hit. If you see this creature, avoid it at all costs and just run. Good luck, you're gonna need it. Be careful how I run those. Run out of energy really quick. The shard glimmers. Oh, okay. How do I get past that creature if it spawns right there? Why does my flashlight work in this corner? Yeah, how do you get past it? I mean... I have to go this way. Episode 2, Hyunan's World 4. Because human beings can't transform into something else, it follows that they cannot know if they are hearing, seeing, or feeling things the same way another person does. Though everyone looks at something red and says the name of that color, We can't be sure if some of those people may be living in a world where red and blue are reversed, and they just don't know it. You can't become someone else. There's no way to check how others perceive everything around them. We don't know what other people's worlds are like. Because of that, it isn't a stretch to say they're each trapped in their own worlds. The elevator climbed higher and higher for quite a while before stopping on the highest floor of the hospital. When the door opened, it was just more ruins, no trace of the original hospital I'd come from. Just like the last time I'd found my way out here, I picked up some of those strange crystals of light and rode the elevator. This time, though, the elevator didn't turn red, and it wasn't returning to the real world.
내 말 맞지? 나랑 같이 타면 그냥 엘리베이터일 뿐이야. 난 이 출구를 사용할 수 없어.
Why is that exactly?
너처럼 자유롭게 넘어다닐 수 있는 사람만 쓸 수 있는 게 아닐까?
Then, Miss Hyuna, where are...
다 왔네. 일단 여기부터 봐.
Hmm? The metal door to the roof opened with a creak as the bottom scratched against the floor. Markings on the lock indicated it had been smashed open with something. The roof of the hospital was pretty beaten up here and there, but it was still quite intact. They must have installed benches and an awning so that patients could come up here for a breather. Past the broken railing, the landscape of this world stretched out in front of me. Through the fog that grew thicker the farther out I looked, I could see buildings that were leaning or had collapsed. The metal latticework hung between them like the spine of a gigantic creature. The cracked roads and crushed cars made it look like there had been an earthquake, though the original colors were all long gone, covered in rust. Some seemed to glisten, brought to life by the fog.
어때? 이런 풍경 본 적 있어?
Only in the movies. I imagined that looking out on this wasteland with all of its destruction would only bring feelings of despair and grief, but really it just felt like I was looking at a picture or a painting. It was so separate from me. This world didn't matter. I felt this weird sense of incongruity.
난 그 감각이야말로 여기가 다른 세계라는 증거라고 생각해. 우리가 있던 세계가 부서진 게 아니니까 남의 일처럼 느껴지는 거지.
One strange thing I noticed was that I couldn't see any grass or moss. I had always imagined that nature would eat away at the cities once they were devoid of human life. It was as if something cared for this collapsed world and wanted to preserve it in this way. It was like they wanted to keep the view as it was. This man-made landscape. So in the end, you really are trapped in this world, Miss
저거
Oh, that's interesting. On the other side of that foggy world, something gigantic was moving through the haze. With its 4 limbs and long neck, was it some sort of great beast? No, hold up a second. How huge must it be to look that big from such a long way away?
가끔 보고 있으면 저렇게 지나간다? 장관이지 않아? 자세히 보면 눈도 달린 것 같은데.
Looks like it's a giant hand from up in the sky.
가까이 다가올 때도 있어. 이 건물 옥상에 있는 우리를 발견하면 저건 어떤 반응을 보일까? 아, 사진 찍어도 소용없어. 나 말고는 전부 새카맣게만 나올 거야.
Without another word, I hid behind the railing. Hyuna took a seat too, shoulder pressed up against me. We stayed like that for a while. Then when Hyuna said it was all right, I got back up. Miss Hyuna.
뭐, 풍경 자체가 나쁘진 않지?
Hyuna cut me off. She stood up, walked over the railing, and looked back at me.
조용하고 신비롭고 장엄하고 가끔 이렇게 보고 있으면 힐링도 돼. 하지만
As Hyuna wrestled control of her hair fluttering in the wind, she pointed far off into the distance. It was much foggier the further you looked out. There was even one part you couldn't see at all. It was like the world ended right there, all those clearly unnatural forms coming to an end.
실제로 가보면 저기 이상 나아갈 수가 없어. 생각보다 그리 넓진 않은 거야.
You can't go any farther?
마치 벽에 막힌 것처럼.
I squinted and tried to look into the distance. That abnormally thick fog hung there like a huge barrier.
저기가 이 세상의 한계점이야. 저기서 이 세상은 끝나고 다른 세상이 시작되지.
Another world?
그리고 내가 들어온 입구는 저 너머에 있어.
Hyuna got quiet for a moment, looking rather distraught. I couldn't think of anything to say either. Those were her words. Hyuna told me I might not be able to go back. She was speaking from experience.
너처럼 우연히 들어와서 이곳의 풍경에 매료됐었어. 처음엔 조심해야겠다는 생각도 했는데 어쩐지 한번 나갔다간 다시는 들어올 수 없을 것 같은 기분이 드는 거야. 그래서 나도 모르게 점점 깊은 곳으로 들어갔어.
Why would you do something so reckless? Those are the words I couldn't get out. After all, I had done basically the same thing.
뒤쪽에 출구가 있는 걸 분명히 확인했었거든. 막혀있지 않았어. 그런데 어느 순간
Whack! Her hands slammed together in a closing gesture.
무섭지? 안 그래? 그 이후로 상당히 많은 시간이 지났어.
She had the same tone of voice from when she was teasing me, but her voice was tinged with an unmistakable sadness. Seriously, how long has she been stuck here? Was that why she was guiding all these people out of here? Was it because she didn't want them to go through all she'd been through? Even though she couldn't get out herself? You've been through a lot.
어? 뭐야? 왜 네가 눈물이 그렁그렁해?
I could remember how hard it was just being stuck in my army detail, but in this world, all alone? No vacations, no nights out, no nightlife at all. Alone, no internet, no smartphone.
이젠 익숙하니까 너무 그러지 마.
Miss Hyuna. I looked into Hyuna's eyes, the expression on my face telling of the grief I felt for her. She stepped towards me, arms outstretched like she was going to hold me. Then she cleared her throat and pinched my cheeks.
아니야, 좀 이른 것 같아.
Were you just about to hug me?
다음에 할게. 우리 아직 그렇게 안 친하잖아.
We've gotten quite close considering how little time we've been together, don't you think?
뭐 그렇긴 해.
She stayed where she was and stroked my face a bit.
그래서 말인데
Yes? She looked up at me with a slight grin.
아까 너한테 부탁할 거 있다고 했지?
Sure did. Hyuna lowered her hands to my chest and continued.
내가 여기서 나갈 수 있게 도와주지 않을래?
A bank of fog came rolling by on the breeze, a huge creature tracing the horizon. I felt like it was looking this way. If I help you, you think you can do it?
응.
You have a plan?
응.
Well then, let's hear it. A wide smile covered her face. What caused that boundary to form in the first place? What do I need to do? We were back in the hospital room. Hyuna had brought over a piece of paper and a pen with an air of a tutor or an after-school instructor.
일단
She drew a large rectangle.
이걸 이쪽 색이라고 해보자.
Okay. Hyuna put a black dot on the left edge of the square.
이게 나야. 가장 흔한 타입이지. 여길 들어온다고 해도 아무런 영향도 끼치지 않는 사람이고.
Just a person.
이런 사람은 몇 명이 들어와도 상관없어.
Hyuna put a few more dots around her.
들어왔던 입구를 통하면 여기서 빠져나갈 수 있는데 한 번 나간 사람이 또다시 들어오는 건 본 적이 없지.
She drew a circle on the other edge of the square. She wrote the word exit next to it. Drawing that animal-like thing at the bottom, was that just a habit of hers?
아마 나간 후에는 꿈이라도 꾼 것처럼 잊어버릴 가능성이 높아. 그래서 아무에게도 안 알려졌겠지. 하지만
Hyuna drew another dot in the middle of the rectangle in red. Then two vertical lines came after, dividing the rectangle.
저 한계점 너머에는 전혀 다른 타입의 누군가가 있어. 이 세 개의 한계점을 나눠서 자기 영역을 만들어버리는 사람. 그 사람 때문에 내 출구로 가는 길이 막혀버린 거야.
Does that really seem possible?
여기서 겪은 다른 일들은 말이 되고?
Hyuna put on a melancholy smile.
다른 사람들을 탈출시키면서 알아낸 건데 한계점을 만드는 사람은 일반인보다 큰 정신적 상처를 가지고 있어.
Scars?
그걸 반영한 형태로 세계가 변하다가 결국 자신만의 세계에 갇혀버리는 거지. 물론 그 안에도 위험한 것들은 기어나오고 본인조차도 나갈 수 없어.
Then that's...
이 세계가 마음의 상처를 가진 사람을 먹이로 삼고 있는 것 같지? 무서워?
I'm okay so far. Hyuna moved over to where I was sitting and scooted in close. She leaned softly against me.
일단 나눠져 버린 세상은 나로선 몇 발짝 이상 들어갈 수도 없었어. 너무 고통스러워서.
Huh? It hurt.
내가 그쪽 세계에 있어서는 안 될 존재인 것처럼 온몸이 녹아내릴 듯이 아프더라고. 실제로 상처도 생겼고.
Miss Hyuna.
하지만 덕분에 알아낸 것도 있어.
Hyuna raised her hands to her chest and began unbuttoning her blouse. I didn't try to stop her. I just watched in silence.
이거 기억나?
Right under her collarbone, something was shining. Hurry up and take it back.
괜찮겠어? 그게 있어야 여기서 나갈 수 있는데.
The thing you gave me before.
맞아. 이건 이 세계의 기억 같은 거야.
The memories?
이쪽 세계에서는 기억이나 정보가 형태를 이룰 때가 있거든. 난 파편이라고 부르고 있어.
Shards, huh? Last time I left, she had called them that too. Did you have a fondness for the word for some reason?
한계점 너머의 세상으로 들어갔다가 너무 고통스러워서 오도 가도 못하게 되었을 때 거기 있던 누군가가 그쪽 세계의 파편 몇 개를 전해줬었거든. 그게 내 몸에 흡수된 순간 고통이 사라지는 거야. 오래가진 않았지만. 아마도 파편을 얻어서 그쪽 세계의 정보를 인식하게 되면 더 깊은 곳까지 들어갈 수 있는 것 같아.
Excuse me, Professor, you're losing me.
학생은 이미 실제로 겪은 일이에요.
I have? Yuna picked up a long, thin stick that was lying nearby and swung it around like a pointer. It was almost scary how well it suited her.
네가 왔던 첫날 병원에 있던 파편을 모았던 거 기억하지? 그건 원래 일반적인 사람이 햄에 들어왔을 때 내가 탈출시키는 방식이야. 여기도 특성 자체는 비슷하거든. 파편을 모아줘서 이쪽 세계에 대한 것을 어느 정도 알게 되면 탈출구인 엘리베이터도 보이는 거지. 지금 생각해보면 너한테는 필요 없는 과정이었을지도 모르겠네.
It was like learning about and coming to understand this world meant it came to accept you as part of it. So did that mean the world beyond the boundary was rejecting the influx of that information? So if you just push through the boundary and gather shards, you can pass through freely, no? Then you can get to your exit?
그렇게 간단했으면 얼마나 좋았겠냐마는.
Yuna let out a sigh.
한계점 너머에서 내가 직접 파편을 주우려 했더니 연기라도 만지는 것처럼 안 잡히는 거야. 이쪽에 있는 건 나도 만질 수 있는데 아마 그 한계점의 당사자만 만질 수 있는 것 같아.
내가 주울 수 있는 건 비오는 세상에 있는 것뿐이야. 여기 있는 건 못 주워.
Huh? Hadn't I had the same conversation with someone else before? I tried to remember if I had, but unfortunately I couldn't remember anything like it. Maybe just deja vu then?
야, 내 말 듣고 있어?
Yeah, I'm listening.
집중해. 다른 데 보지 말고.
Yuna buttoned her blouse back up, her cheeks a bit flushed. How unfortunate.
그리고
Yuna made another dot, blue this time. From that point, she drew a zigzag through the box and past the boundaries, indicating a person being able to pass whenever they pleased.
이게 너야. 넌 내가 오랫동안 여길 관찰하면서도 단 한 번도 본 적 없는 타입의 인간이야. 한 번 돌아가고 끝이 아니라 두 세계를 왕복할 수 있는 사람. 그리고 아마도 저 한계점 너머로도 갈 수 있는 사람.
What? I've never crossed.
있어. 네가 본 학교 모양의 세계.
Huh?
거의 확실해. 너 무의식적으로 한계점을 넘어갔던 거야.
Beyond the glass door. So that little punk of a schoolgirl, she's the one who set up the boundary? She's the one with the emotional scars? She did seem rather deranged.
내가 부탁하고 싶은 건 내가 들어온 입구를 막고 있는 한계점으로 네가 들어가서 그곳의 정보를 담고 있는 기억의 파편을 모으는 거야. 그리고 돌아와서 그걸 내게 전해주는 거지.
Then you'll be able to cross with me?
응.
Yuna nodded. But you said the only person with ties to the world can pick up the shards, didn't you? Even if I'm able to get across, how am I supposed to pick them up?
여기서부턴 거의 추측이지만
Yuna suddenly looked a bit apologetic.
파편은 기억이나 정보가 형태를 이룬 거니까 그걸 모음으로써 그쪽 세계를 알게 되는 거라고 했지? 그럼 반대로 그쪽 세계를 알게 되는 것으로 파편을 모으는 것도 가능하지 않을까?
Ah,
뭐 한계점을 넘을 수 있는 너라면 처음부터 주울 수 있을지도 모르고. 여기서부터는 일단 들어가서 알아볼 수밖에 없어.
either way, I'm going to be exploring that place by myself, huh? Yuna looked straight at me before her eyes darted away from mine. Then her gaze fell to where the floor met the wall. Exploring a world even you don't know about?
어때? 도와줄 수 있겠어?
Such a tiny favor? Why not? Let's... I tried to shoot back my reply, but Yuna pressed the finger to my lips. What is it, Miss Yuna?
이쪽 세계는 솔직히 말해서 위험해. 저 너머에는 또 어떤 무서운 것들이 기다리고 있을지 모르고 한계점을 만든 사람이 무슨 짓을 해올지도 몰라. 그러니까
I grabbed her hand and pulled it down. Then I spoke. Let's give it a try. I mean, what I'm saying is, if there's any way I can help, of course I'm going to do it. After all, you saved my life.
그러지 마. 안 어울려.
Yuna led me back into the hospital proper. In front of me, there was now only one elevator. Was the trap elevator gone now? I had to be careful. After all, it could show up again. So, what's my job for today?
집에 가.
What?
집에 가.
How can I help if I'm not here?
아니, 그게 아니라 일단 집에 갔다가 내일 다시 이쪽 세계로 들어와 보란 거야. 네가 정말로 자유롭게 오갈 수 있는지 알아야 하니까. 계속 드나들 수 있는 사람만이 가능한 일이잖아?
Nope. I had to prove that entering this world 2 days in a row was no fluke. If I were to leave and not be able to return, I'd be of no use to her.
걱정 마. 만약 돌아오지 않더라도 이해할 수 있어. 같은 사람이 2번이나 와준 것만으로도 난 너무 고마워서.
Miss Yuna,
네가 겁을 먹고 쫄아서 날 버리더라도 정말로 못 들어오고 있을 뿐이라고 생각해 줄 테니까 부담 갖지 마.
what you're trying to say is come back even if it kills me, right? Before anything else, I need to be sure I was able to travel back and forth between the two worlds. If I couldn't come back after leaving, that would throw a huge wrench into things. Couldn't I just leave and come right back?
하루에 한 번밖에 못 들어오는 것 같다고 아까 네가 말했잖아.
She was right. The cooldown period.
여러 번 하다 보면 그런 제한은 없어질 거라 생각하지만
You think I'll get better at it?
진짜로 들락거릴 수 있을 때 이야기야.
Either way, it looked like I'd be quivering in my boots, waiting for this time tomorrow. It felt like confessing your love for someone and being told they need time to think. Normally that was just a way to reject a guy and send him straight to the friend zone.
그리고 적어도 하루 정도는 고민해 보도록 해. 위험한 일이니까.
I'll give it some thought when I get there. Refusing a favor from someone who saved your life at least twice was inhuman. Unless the person was asking you to co-sign for something, join a strange religion, or commit suicide together, pretty much anything was a go.
아니, 제발 신중하게 생각해줘. 괜히 도와줬다는 말만큼은 듣고 싶지 않아.
As Hyuna said that, she sounded sad. Maybe someone else before those words could weasel their way out, I swallowed them. I think it'll all turn out fine. I tried to smile.
무슨 자신감이야?
Well, it was nicer than I thought it might be to hear someone sincerely asking for my help. There were so many people who subtly let on that they were in need of help, but when you offered it, they'd refuse your assistance, hoping that you'd figure out for yourself what the problem was and find a way to secretly help them. And if you asked them why they were refusing your help, they'd pretend it was in consideration of your time and energy, saying they didn't want to be a burden. Then if you went by what they said and didn't help, they'd resent it as if you had ignored their veiled cries for help from the very start. They'd start spotting up lines like, "How could you not notice I needed your help?" Or, "You left me all alone when I needed you." Acceptable from a child, total headache from an adult. The elevator door opened. I may have been afraid I wasn't going to be able to return, but when Hyuna, having gotten strangely calm, kept quiet and waved, I just waved back.
조심히 돌아가.
See you tomorrow. The elevator slid shut with a dull thump. Then, just like last time, the elevator turned red. Or the elevator light turned red. A strange silence hung there. Would the girl in the red raincoat show up again like the day before? I figured that since I knew she might appear, it wouldn't come as a shock. That was what I thought, at least. The girl? How did I know this thing was a girl? Last time all I saw was that raincoat. I never caught a glimpse of a face. As if I'd heard her voice in one of my dreams, I knew that the person in the raincoat was a girl. Huh? Why was that so specific? A voice? The elevator, bathed in red light, began to shake. I'd already been through this once before, but it was not a very pleasant sensation. Then, not in the elevator, but through the mirror hung on one side. I saw the face of the student who had put me through the ringer earlier. Nice to see you again, punk. I figured she might have been reflected in the mirror, so I swept a hand through the elevator, only to confirm that she was actually inside the mirror. Right, it wasn't Hyuna who was the ghost, but this girl. I was probably looking a bit flustered, which only fed her mocking smile.
그쵸, 오빠.
Huh? She was suddenly pretending to be all buddy-buddy now.
생명의 은인이 부탁을 하는데 대체 누가 거절하겠어요? 그런데 누굴 구해주는 사건이라는 게 그렇게 쉽게 겪을 수 있는 일인가? 소방관도 아니면서?
I can't exactly call myself a public servant, but you almost buried me in the whole pile of...
아깝네요. 보내버릴 수 있었는데.
You're lucky you're inside that mirror right now. You should be careful we don't cross paths.
퍽이나 무섭네.
The girl disappeared from the mirror. Thankfully, nothing bad had happened. As I wiped the cold sweat from my brow, the elevator door opened. Before me, the hospital hallway, filled with people, appeared once more. Oh, this is a regular hospital. Is it going to be like brightly lit? Oh, no. Somehow it is not brightly lit. even though this is the regular hospital. I have a time limit, though, to find these shards. Whoop. My mouse movement's not exactly easy with this game. Episode 3. Okay, Wooby's World. Is that her name? Wooby? Like a wet wooby. Smells like rain. On that rainy day, getting ready to go to school, just as I opened the door and stepped outside into the open air corridor. As I opened my umbrella and walked out the gate, I felt the rain on my hand as the scent hit me. Some people hated the smell of rain, saying it smelled like wet cement or asphalt, but I actually didn't mind it. However, it wasn't the kind of thing you wanted to have hit you in the face right after waking up from a good night's sleep. Huh? I put my hands on the damp ground and pushed myself into a sitting position. I wasn't at home, but outside. I was in the middle of a street nowhere near my house. My head was so scrambled it felt like I was filled with white noise. I was the kid in the red raincoat when I broke down the door. Right, then that guy was about to hit her with a pipe. I overpowered him, but then someone sliced me up. Then it felt like several days had passed for some reason, but I couldn't remember a thing. I stood up. The sky was filled with a fine mist, and here I was with no umbrella. From the way my joints creaked, it felt like I'd been sleeping on the hard ground for some time now. My joints? I swung my arms in wide circles. Then I tried to stretch out my tired limbs with a little shadowboxing, ducking back and forth while throwing a few 1-2 combinations. Right, I have joints, huh? Well, that's what seems so off about that. I'd had this feeling like my body had melted down into a flexible pile of mush. Everyone's got days like that, I guess. The mist turned into something heavier. I tried going into a few of the wrecked buildings to try to get out of the rain, but for some reason none of the doors would open. I tried to break a few down, but they wouldn't budge. I even tried looking in a few of the windows, but couldn't see a thing through the fog that seemed to hang inside. The place was little but rubble, but there were no openings for me to squeeze through. All I wanted to do was avoid getting soaked. It seemed as though the more broken down the place was, the less hospitable it became. I walked on an endless path through the city, looking for shelter from the rain. It didn't look like the place had been blown up or had slowly deteriorated. It looked like it had been created like this, that it had forgotten its original appearance. As I walked on, the fog grew thicker. The surrounding landscape grew hazy. Huh? Finally, I reached a place where the white fog was all I could see. Suddenly, the air had a different feel to it, as if I'd crossed through some invisible wall. The rain got even stronger. It went from a drizzle to a soaking sheet of water. The white fog had lifted in an instant, revealing walls of wood or steel on both sides of me, although I couldn't really make out which they were made of. Still, there was no roof or awning above, and the rain was relentless. I'm freezing. What month is it again? Flowers I couldn't name were blooming below my feet. Did those flowers want something to shelter them from the rain, or were they fine with being drenched? There was no way for me to know this, so I just gave them a blank stare before. I heard footsteps. There was the girl in the red raincoat. She was gazing at me from under her umbrella. She had no face, thus no expression, but that featureless face was familiar for some reason. Hey, you. You know me, right? She had no reply for me. I'm the guy from before who broke down the door and got you out of that place. Don't you remember me? The way her face moved suggested she was opening and closing her mouth, but it was like a lack of a face stopped her voice from coming out. What's wrong? You didn't have a face before, but you were able to speak. The girl seemed to hesitate a moment. Then she looked around me like there was trouble nearby, stepping in close. Got on her tiptoes and pulled me down by the collar. What is it? When I bent over for the girl, she put a hand to my chest. With a sensation too incredible to describe, a lump of light moved from my body to hers. It felt similar to feeding her that crystal before. Her face was revealed. Quite the cute face at that. On one hand, I was relieved we could finally communicate, but in one corner of my mind, doubts arose. Was she really able to will her face into existence like that? What she took, was that a shard I collected with Yona? Those were the doubts taking shape. Huh? Shards? Yona? Who's that? My vision went white and hazy. My consciousness faded into the background, and I began to feel like I was waking from a dream. Right. I made that promise to Hyuna that then my friend saw me on my way home. We hit an all-you-can-eat fried chicken joint where I had my fair share of booze. I definitely got back home, showered, and jumped in bed when... The girl grabbed the hem of my shirt. My consciousness found its way back to the foreground. What was I just thinking about? It disappeared in an instant. The rain was only getting stronger. I was shivering from the cold. If I stayed out in this rain, I was sure to catch a cold. Catching a cold led straight to the muscle loss. You think you could share that umbrella? The girl held up her umbrella, but it looked to be an umbrella made for a child. It was so small, there was no way two people would fit under it. I thought about what to do for a minute before getting the girl to climb up onto my back with the umbrella in her hand. Her damp raincoat stuck to me. I'm pretty tall.
찝찝해.
Sorry.
그래도 편해.
Alright. I walked down an alley with the girl on my back. A few small lodges built into the mountainside caught my eye. There was a mix of religious symbols leaning against them. A grass-covered sign had fallen to the ground. It was so old that it was hard to make out the letters, but it looked like to be some sort of prayer retreat. I approached the largest of the structures before letting the girl down. You live here? The girl flashed me a slight grin. Then she motioned for us to enter. However, no matter how hard I pulled, the door wouldn't budge. The girl's expression spoke to how pathetic my attempts were. Then she slowly pulled me back. The girl's small hand closed over the doorknob, and it opened easily when she pulled. But why? Today feels like one big dream. A nonsensical sentence flashed through my mind. Let's ignore that for now. Right through the door was a spacious lobby covered in vegetation. I entered a room up the stairs to find a room that could accommodate several people. All but one of the beds had covers that were bulging out as though someone was lying underneath. The air in the room was muggy, but the comforters were dry. Everything was a lot warmer than how it looked at first glance. It was probably best to wait until I was in bed to take off my shoes. I took off my jacket and wrung the water out. The girl poked me in the back. What is it?
놀자.
She poked me in the back again.
어느 손?
The girl's cheeks were flushed red and she was smiling. Back when I had to look at one of my nieces, I thought the kid was evil incarnate. But this girl was acting kind of cute. Your left one. I smiled as I pointed.
땡.
The girl burst out laughing as she opened her hand. Nothing there. The only thing in her hand was the shadowy creases of her palm. Something was there just a second ago. She laughed again as she sidled right up next to me. Her legs were swinging as she turned to look me straight on. I could tell she wanted to play. Kids. Were they normally this full of life on rainy days? What's your name?
우비.
That's just the Korean word for raincoat.
기억에 남은 건 그것뿐이니까.
If you try too hard to make sense of a conversation with a child, you'll only end up with brain damage. I put on a smile and a look that said I sort of followed, then brushed the rain off her coat. She still had the thing on, even though we'd come inside. All right, I'll call you Obi then. Where are your parents?
아빠는 멀리 갔어.
So, like America?
엄마는 저기서 기도하고 온대.
And you want me to play with you until then?
응.
Ruby started rolling around on the floor before climbing up on a chair with wheels. Then she tried spinning in the chair. She must have lacked the strength, though, because it wouldn't spin.
돌려줘.
Ruby asked with her big puppy dog eyes. I couldn't say no to that face. Spin it once, then the kids will make you spin it 1,000 times to entertain them. That was just how kids worked. I would spend all my time spinning the chair while dreaming about this strange new world, right up until I woke up. Huh? A dream? Yeah, that's right. Now it's time to wake...
하지마!
Ruby's voice got quite loud. The haze in my mind suddenly cleared to leave things sharp once more. These thoughts kept drifting into my brain. I looked over at Ruby and heard the chair under her still squeaking.
오빠야. 돌려줘. 돌려줘. 우산 빌려줬잖아. 가는 게 있으면 가는 것도 있어야지.
Resembled a common saying, but she was definitely confused about the last word. That's how it was with kids. Kinda cute, actually. Just scram, kid. I won't fall for it. You know how many years I've dealt with your type? No way I'm giving in. I gave in. The chair was so rusted it wouldn't turn well. So I brute forced it. I felt like I'd been spinning her for 30 minutes now. She wasn't getting tired of it. Really, wasn't she getting dizzy at all? A few times in the middle, she'd gotten so excited she almost fell over, and I had to grab hold of her. Then finally... Ruby stumbled off the chair and plopped under the bed. She looked like a big red smartphone with legs.
재밌었다.
Phew. Adults didn't move at the slightest hint of rain, so why were kids like this? Seriously.
그럼 다음은
What else are we gonna do here?
보물찾기 할래?
Treasure? She handed me a red chunk of something that had been lying next to her. I held it for a second before it disappeared, seemingly absorbing into my body. We were just picking things up and calling them treasure now?
그거는 안 돼.
Why not?
모아서 딴 년한테 줄 거잖아.
Where did someone like you hear that word?
줘봤자 소용없어. 제일 중요한 게 없는 걸. 실수로 모았으면 차라리 나한테 줘. 내가 버려줄게.
She was jumping up and down like someone in a mosh pit. Face or no face, kids will be kids. Then what should we search for instead?
인형이 숨겨져 있으니까 그거 찾기 하자.
Alright, why don't we stop it there? This is audap. You've been watching Her World running on the Steam Deck. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.